Looks like it's time, right?
Yeah, I was waiting on Councilman Schindler and Mike Rahill, but maybe they'll pop in.
Ready to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. This is the October 20th, 2020 meeting of the
Nope, November
Hopatcong.
17th.
What did I say? Oh, I'm
October
sorry. I'm
20th.
looking at the old, reading it off. This is the November
Oh,
17th,
backwards.
2020 meeting of the Hopatcong Borough Land Use Board. And we'll have a roll call, please.
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Here.
Mr. Duncan? Mr. Gaffney? Mrs. Crock?
Here.
Mr. Lejo? Mr. Rahill?
He was here, Daniel. I don't know where he went.
I think he got disconnected. Hopefully he'll pop back in.
Okay.
Mr. Ray? Mr. Riley?
Here.
Mr. Toppin?
Here.
Councilman Schindler?
Here.
Oh, there he is.
I'm here.
Mayor Francis? Mike, are you here?
Yes.
I'm here.
Okay,
I
good.
don't see him.
Okay.
I see him. He's at the bottom of my screen. And Mr. Gilbert is not here.
Okay. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act 10:4-6 at SEC. Annual notice having been forwarded to the New Jersey Herald and the New Jersey Sunday Herald and posted on the bulletin board maintained in the municipal building for public announcements. Could we have a moment of silent reflection followed by the Pledge of Allegiance? Danielle, do you have a flag? Can you post a flag? Anybody got a flag?
Nothing like putting me on the spot there, Bill.
I know, putting everybody on the
Hold
spot.
on.
My neighbor does, but it's not illuminated here.
Give me 2 seconds. I'll go downstairs. There's a flag.
Okay, give 2 seconds.
Okay, here we go. Hold on.
Got one?
Yeah, hold on.
Ron, it looks like you're doing the Blair Witch.
Here we go. Ready?
Perfect.
Ready, everybody stand.
And there we go. Let me get it in.
To the flag.
Of the United
States of America.
And to
the
the
republic
republic for which it stands,
And
one nation,
one nation, under God,
Indivisible.
indivisible,
free,
with
Justice
liberty, justice for all.
Okay. The first order, yeah, we don't have a chairperson or a vice chair tonight, so we would take nominations for an acting chairperson for this evening's meeting.
I'll nominate Rich Schindler.
I second that motion.
Mike, I nominate you.
Don't fight, boys.
I think you had a second on that, Council.
That's right.
Okay. We have a second.
Second.
No,
I third.
Okay.
all right, walk
Ready?
me through this if you
I'll
want.
help you, Rich. I got
Very
a
good,
roll call
Danielle.
vote.
Thank you.
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rahill?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Toppin?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yes.
Okay.
Do we have a quorum?
Abstain.
All right, Rich, first up is the minutes. We need a
Minutes.
motion for the minutes.
Okay, could I have a motion for the minutes, please, from the October 20th, 2020 meeting?
I so move.
I'll make a motion.
Is someone second?
Second.
Okay.
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock? Mr. Rahill?
Lost her already.
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Toppin?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yes.
Okay, looks like we're going to have, I'm sorry, what, Danielle?
Work session.
Yep,
Frank.
exactly. So we have a work session on for tonight. So let's, is Frank Marinaro there, here? Block
He's
3208.
muted.
Sorry about that.
Okay, and Mr. Marinaro would like to discuss the possibility of subdividing these lots into 4 lots of a 100 by 150 property. Can you tell us what you want to do? Explain it in your own words, please.
Sure, no problem. My wife and I, Nancy Marinaro, we own both 130 and 132 Dell Avenue. And what we are looking, right now, they're currently 100 by 300 foot lots. And we are looking to subdivide them into 4 15,000 square foot lots, which would be approximately 100 by 150. If you've been in that area, it's the entire block area between Mountain, Richards, Bell, and Ford. And it's currently just a wooded lot right now. So we're looking to make it into 4 buildable lots.
The lots would satisfy the lot area requirement of 15,000 square feet. However, the lots would not meet the minimum lot width requirement of 150 feet. The lots would, according to your survey that you provided, would each have a width of 100 feet.
Now, let me ask the board about this. As far as, we don't have a preference right now, whether it be 150 foot wide or 100 foot wide. I guess we could turn them, and we could have them either both face Richards and both face Mountain. Or, if the board is okay with it, we would have 2 face Bell and maybe 1 face Richard and 1 face Mountain. Right now, we don't have a particular preference for that.
It looks like you're going to need a variance in any event, either for lot width or lot depth, depending upon how you configure the lots.
Okay. And just so everybody's aware, there is water and sewer in the area to be able to hook up to those.
That's important.
Is the water and sewer will make it to all 4 lots, or would you bring it to the back lots?
No, it looks like, from what I could tell, it's going to be able to go. There's a sewer line that runs on Ford, and then on the corners of Mountain and Bell, and on the corner of Richards and Bell. And then a water line runs up Mountain, and another water line runs down Bell. So I could access different areas.
Okay. And all 4 lots have access, right?
Correct.
Road, mountain, okay.
Now, Richards is a road. I would say it's a, and Bill, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this. It's a partially finished road at this point, I would think, looking at Richards.
Yes, I believe, I don't know that it would go all the way back to Ford.
Right. I'd have to finish it back to Ford. It stops just about, I would say, 3/4 of the way to Ford right now.
Okay, are there any questions from the board?
No.
I think if you're willing to, if the applicant is willing to improve Richards Road all the way through, I don't know that it matters which way the lots are placed, because either way you're going to need a variance, and I don't think it's a major variance, because the big thing is with the subdivision that you meet the minimum square footage, and it looks like you do.
I agree. Yeah, no problem there. I understand as far as Richards, yeah, that would be my responsibility to finish that road.
Yeah, and of course the engineer, it's got to be done by the engineer's, standards and all that stuff. But other than that, I don't have a big problem with subdividing.
Then you would have to make application to the land use board for subdivision approval and variance approval, depending upon how the lots are configured. The comments by the board members tonight are just advisory. They're not binding on the board members. This is a free exchange. That's why you were not sworn in terms of the presentation you provided.
No, I appreciate that. This is my first time doing anything like this, so I appreciate all the advice on this.
Are you planning to do your own building or just subdivide and sell?
Well, to be honest with you, my wife's had some health issues. At one time, we thought about building our own home over there, but I don't think I want to put that stress. So it's probably going to be a subdivided sell. Although I still get the urge to build my own home. I live on 3 North Way up here, and we've been up here for about 30 years now, so it's hard to move.
Okay, so Bill, or Dan, can someone turn off, there's too much feedback. If you're not talking, please mute your computer.
I got him, Rich.
Thank you. So Danielle or Bill.
Thank you.
Okay, how's that? Better? Okay. All right, Danielle or Bill, should we open this up to public?
There's no action we would be taking tonight. It's just advisory. So I think the applicant has heard the comments of the board members. The future applicant, I should say, has heard the comments of the board members, and it's within his discretion whether to move forward with an application.
Okay, and to do that, I would just, I guess, would I get together with Bill Donegan just to get the paperwork on that?
Yes, the application forms are online, and you can pull that.
Okay. No, and I appreciate it. Thank you for the input and looking forward to the next steps on this. I appreciate everybody's time.
Good.
Hey, Mike Rainhill, can you mute your, you have 2 hookups here. Can you mute both of them?
Mike Rainhill, can you?
Okay, I think we just cleared that up.
Thank God.
Okay, so Danielle, now, Bill, most of your stuff I personally missed because there's so much feedback, but I'm hoping the work session applicant heard it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes, great. Okay, so let's, do you have any other further questions?
No, I think my concerns are we made the 15,000 square feet hits the minimum, and I've heard the information. I would just say, no, I think we're good. I'll just start the application process, and we'll take the next steps forward. So I appreciate you folks educating me on that.
Okay, great. And obviously, when you're ready to make application, talk to Danielle, and she can help you with the proper applications and everything.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next, Danielle, we got Brian Sadowski. Is he here today? 7 North River Styx Road.
I don't see him right now.
I don't see him either, Rich.
Okay, so Bill, what's the protocol here? Do we just pass on
Oh,
this?
we go to the next application, Warren Addy. And if Mr. Sadowski appears, then we can return to his application.
Great, okay, we will pass on Brian's, and let's go to Warren Addy. Are they here from 17 Portside Road?
If anybody is here from that, just go to the reaction buttons, raise your hand, and we'll acknowledge you. Okay,
Here.
got it. Here we go.
There you go.
Mr. Addy, you're on.
Mr. Addy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Would you raise your right hand? Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And you're the property owner?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Mr. Addy, could you tell the board what it is you'd like to do this evening? What it is you'd like to do?
Sure. We reside at 17 Portside Road in Hopatcong, and we currently have an existing concrete bulkhead with a slip built into it, and the bulkhead extends beyond our property. It's a continuous bulkhead down several properties. We are looking at putting a boat port over it It's basically like a boathouse, but it'd be an open type structure. We want to put a gable roof with about
Okay.
4 columns on each side. So it's an open air type structure, basically just to protect the boat that will be docked and split. And the variances for side yards and between our slip
Okay.
and the next door neighbor's dock.
Okay.
Is that all that?
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I think we should probably go on to the engineer's report.
Rich, my report is
John here?
simple. I just refer to that that he needs to comply with the permit by rule requirements of the NJDEP. But so that just could be a condition of approval. So basically, no improvements are being proposed, correct? Other than the canopy over the concrete. So you're not expanding the bulkhead. You're not doing any dock work. You're not doing any work around the rear of the property. You're just putting basically the awning or enclosure over the top of the existing.
Yeah, it's not an awning or a canopy. We're putting in a full structure, a gable, roof with columns.
Correct. But there's nothing beyond that.
No concrete work, no. We're using the existing foundation there. Actually, the existing slip that's there was designed for a boathouse. It has sloped sides, it's massive concrete.
Okay, so there's no earthwork, no additional grading or anything that you're doing in the back of the yard. You're just putting this in. Okay, all right. Thank you.
Okay, great. Board members, are there any questions or comments?
Well, just a quick question. You mentioned that you had some pillars there now. Am I correct? And you're going to leave them?
No, there are no pillars there now. I did list on the application that it replaces an old pipe frame and canopy structure that was dismantled. There's still pipes sticking out of the concrete. They're more of a tripping hazard right now.
That's what I meant.
No, there's just stuff sticking up about 6 inches.
So there used to be a canopy over there before,
Something used to be there, yes.
but you don't know what it was.
No, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
They're all rusting out.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board? Can I have a motion to move it to open for public?
We don't need a motion. We can just open it to the public.
Okay, great, Danielle, thank you. Does anyone in the public have anything to say about this?
If anyone in the public wants to respond, please go to reactions and raise your hand. Mr. Schindler, I don't see any.
Okay, then I'd like to move it back to the board. Any final comments or questions from the board? Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
it. I seconded it already.
Okay, and the motion is to approve.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rich.
I was just going to say the motion is on the table to approve the boat canopy. So go ahead, Danielle.
Well, pavilion, it's really not, it's an open, really essentially pavilion type structure. Right.
Right.
Okay, Mr. Bongiovanni,
Yes.
Mrs. Crock,
Yes,
Mr. Rayhill. Did we lose him?
Mike, you're probably muted.
Hey, I've tried to
Hello?
unmute him. There he is.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Riley,
Yes.
Mr. Toppin,
Yes.
Mayor Francis,
He's
Mike,
muted.
Mike, unmute.
Yes.
and Councilman Schindler.
Yes.
Hope this night gets better.
Okay, so this moves, approves it. Mr. Addy, do you want to waive memorialization and get moving on your permits, or do you have time and you can wait?
I would just soon move on it if you can. The contractor, I talked to one that's interested in getting started in the winter.
Okay, so officially you have to ask for a waiver of a memorialization.
Okay, can you explain a little what that means? I'm not familiar with that.
Yes, if you ask that the resolution be waived and the board approves that request, then you could apply for a construction permit immediately. When we say at your risk, it means that if someone appealed the decision and you commenced construction, there could be a stop work or even a requirement that you remove the improvement. Now, since there's been no member of the public here in opposition, it's highly unlikely that would happen. But there is, you know, a risk, a theoretical risk probably, but a risk.
I understand. And just to add a little, I've talked to both neighbors on both sides. Neither one has any objection to what I'm doing. And may be the only ones impacted from this.
Yeah, so you may want to make that request.
Yes, can I make the request to waive it?
Okay, yes, you can. Danielle, do we have to have a vote on that or not?
Yes.
Yes, I need a motion and a second.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. Phil Riley.
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Toppin?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yeah.
Hey, Ron?
Ron just stepped away.
Mr. Sadowski is trying to get in. Do you see him trying to get in? No? All right, I'm going to tell him to close out everything.
Hold
and
on.
try-
I'll keep looking. Hold on.
Mr. Addy, I think you're fine. The board approved your request.
Oh, I got him. Here he is. He's coming.
Got it. Okay.
Mr. Addy, thank you and good luck.
All right, thank
Okay,
you, ladies
Mr.
and gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Great.
Hey.
Mr.
on,
Sadowski, are
lady.
you there?
Wow.
No.
Still nothing? Mr. Sadowski, are you there? All
He's
right, I
trying to
see we're
connect.
having,
Yeah, he's trying to connect.
well, why don't we move on to Mr. Conley and then we'll come back.
Mhm.
All right. All right, next up, number 3, Mr. Conley, 42 Unger Avenue. The applicant would like to add a 18-foot by 30-foot lawn shed. Variance being requested are the 242-15E maximum number of accessory structures. Any variance required is by the land use. Mr. Connell, are you here?
Yes. How are you this evening, ladies and gentlemen?
Mr. Conley, please raise your right hand.
Yeah,
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And Mr. Conley, you're the property owner?
I am.
Okay.
So, brief description. I've recently purchased a pickup truck that takes up most of my garage. So, I need to store my lawn tractor and my workbench and my tools in another shed because my property is close to a half an acre, but I do have a built-in swimming pool and a current shed that's 8 by 10. I'm getting a variance to allow me to build another shed that half of it will be used as a storage shed and the other half for the safety of my family and our health. I'd like to put some gym equipment in, a bench press, a treadmill, and an elliptical machine, and the other half. So I would need electrical, but at first I would need a variance to have the third accessory in place before I can move forward with the building permit.
Okay. And you said that the property is half an acre?
Just about, yes.
Okay. John, do you want to go over your
Yeah,
engineer's?
just a couple of questions. I guess it's a very large shed, and so you're going to propose to leave the second shed? Is that what you can't eliminate that shed?
Yes, well, one is that shed is filled with pool supplies. So right now, my lawn tractor to cut that half acre of grass, because it's all grass, no trees, perfectly flat. My tools and my tool bench are all smashed together. So one of my neighbors actually was gracious enough to store my lawn tractor in his garage until I could get this variance through.
Okay, but you know, again, the 18 by 30 foot garage or shed that you're proposing, you couldn't, you don't have enough room to eliminate that other shed, to eliminate this variance?
No. Half of it is going, my tools and workbench and lawn tractor take up quite a bit of space. And then the second portion, I'd like to have for, like I said, some workout equipment, a bench, elliptical, and a treadmill.
Right, and you're not, is this going to have a garage, I guess, are you going to have a
No garage door.
or anything to it?
No, it's already fenced in. Bill has already granted me the variance to put up a new fence. I bought a property 15 years ago from my next door neighbor, Mr. Ferguson, at 40. So that allowed me to expand my yard. Bill went through the variance for the 25% impervious land. I've satisfied that. So the only thing I need this variance for is for a second accessory, which is the shed itself.
Okay, so I saw that in the application, it was a proposed shed and fence, but the fence is not part of this application, is it?
No, it's not.
It's not. Bill, that's it? The fence is already zoning permit issued and that's installed?
Yes, yep.
Yes.
I don't know that it's been
Talking
installed.
about the shed.
Yes, it's installed, Bill. I did it.
I got a question. The picture you're showing of the shed that you want to build has a garage door.
Yeah, I know. In the building permit, that garage door will be removed. There's no access to it since the fence is completely surrounding it. So that was the regular, I'll say cut and dry diagram, but I have a much more detailed diagram for Bill O'Connor around for the building permit, because there is going to be electricity in it for lighting purposes.
If you made this thing another 5 feet longer, could you shut down and close out the other shed?
Not really, because the other shed is 8 by 10.
Well, the other shed is in your enclosure around your pool. And I
Yes.
take it that that's one of the reasons why you would want to keep it, because it's within that compound. Is that right?
Exactly. Well, that fence, the old fence is gone, so everything is in the enclosure now.
Oh, okay. That old fence is no longer, okay.
That's right. Yes. Everything is enclosed. Nothing is exposed
Okay.
inside the fence.
So then going back to Bill Riley's question though, could you make the shed a little bigger to store all of that other stuff from the small shed?
I would have to make it probably 10. I'd have to figure out the square footage.
It's very easy. You got 120 square foot in the shed that you have. If you add 5 feet, you've got 90 square feet. So if you add 6 feet, you're going to have close to 100. You're going to be there.
Yeah, but the problem is then I'll have to spend probably another $6,000 or $7,000 for a shed of that size. When you go, we're buying it from Amish Mike's in Hackettstown. Shed, just at its 18 by 30, is already $18,900. So if I were to go for 35 or 40 feet, it would be beyond my means. And if you look at the property right behind me, it's all wetlands. No one's there, right? To the left, if you're looking at the house from the front, John Ferguson's house is to the right. He owns close to 2 acres. So I mean, it's not like a heavy concentrated area where there's a lot of, I'll say, pressure from neighbors, right? It's all wooded and wetlands beyond us, right? So there's really no impact to any wildlife or anything like that, as far as we're concerned.
Okay, any other comments or questions from the board?
No.
So you're testifying that there's no garage door on it?
I will certainly testify that, and when I go for the building permit, Mr. Mayor, Bill will see the detailed drawings that show a double door and no garage door. So this is just for the variance for me to say, yes, we can have 2 sheds. I still have to go through the building permit process, which I will show the detailed drawings, the footings, the rebar,
I get all that, but we have to make sure we're clear when we do our resolutions that,
yes, sir, I swear to it. I swear
what the details are. So
We'll actually put it in the resolution that you can't.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, you also mentioned that you're going to have electricity there for lights, which is fine. But you're not going to have heat and water, is that right?
We're not planning to have heat or water. There's no need, really. We'll probably just have a jug water, right, for the gym portion, but we do need light. Yes.
Okay, for electric.
So I still have to go through the building permit just for the electricity feed. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, any other board members? Questions?
No.
Okay, let's open it up to the public then. Does anyone in the public have any thoughts or questions? Please raise your hand, hit the hand button, or wave to Ron.
I don't see any, Mr. Schindler.
Okay, I'd like to bring it back and find out what the board would like to do. Does anyone have any last questions or thoughts? Or would someone like to move this?
I'd like to move it with and include it in the resolution that there be no garage door, no plumbing, and no heating in it.
Can I ask a question? Could he put an electrical heater in there for the winter when he's working in the gym?
That's what I'd like to do, if I may, right?
Of course,
Okay.
But the reason I put that, I would like it in the resolution, is there's no heating system be put in there.
Right.
And that would make it, that would start to make it more like an apartment. And the whole spirit of what we're trying to do is allow them to do a shed for the purposes he said, and put restriction on it so it does not become a living quarter.
Yep. And in all transparency, most likely one of those rolling portable air conditioners in the summer as well for me to work in, right? But no plumbing, no bathroom, no
kitchen.
water,
Yep.
right? None of that. Yep.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Okay, we have a movement on a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call. Vote.
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Toppin?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like your plans are approved.
Thank you.
Congratulations. How soon do you want to move on this? Would you like to get a waiver?
I'd like to get a waiver as well. It's going to take Amish Mike. We already inquired about how long it will take for them to stick build it on our property, and it will take them. They won't be able to start till February. But I'd like to get the concrete slab down as quickly before I get a frost. So I'd like to
great
as possible.
So you're asking. So can I have a motion for a waiver of memorialization?
So moved.
I'll second.
Second.
Great.
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Toppin?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yes.
Okay, looks like you have your memorialization there.
Mr. Schindler, thank you very much. Mr. Mayor, thank you, Councilman. I appreciate it, and have a good evening, and thanks for all of your help.
Thank you. Good luck.
You're welcome.
Okay. Next, how about Brian Sadowski? Is he back yet?
He is. Rich, he
Yeah.
can't, he doesn't have audio, so I'm going to do what I've done in the past. I'm going to call him and put my phone on speaker.
Fine.
So hold on one second. Let me get him on the phone. Hi, Mr. Sadowski. It's Danielle.
Hi, Danielle.
I have you on speaker so the board can hear you, so we can get started.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Sadowski, thank you for coming. And
Let's swear him in, okay?
Yep.
Mr. Sadowski, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
And you are the property owner? Correct?
Second?
You're the property owner?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for coming tonight. Could you tell us what you would like to do with this application?
Okay, the first thing is, back in the summer when that storm came through, a tree knocked down half of my deck. So I'd like to rebuild my deck approximately 2 feet larger towards the lake. And then also, I had originally a variance back in 2004 or something to build stairs going down to the lake to give access to the lake instead of walking backwards to the back of the house. And I'd like to build that extension with the stairs going down to the lake. And I also.
Danielle, you're muted. You're muted. Ron, unmute Danielle. There
Sorry,
you go.
I had to yell for one of my kids. I'm sorry.
Okay. Brian, can you repeat that again, please?
That again?
Yes, repeat that last sentence or two.
Okay, so I want to do the extension on my deck because half my deck is missing right now. It's kind of a dangerous situation, and right now it's 9 feet wide. So when you put a table in there, it's kind of difficult to get around the table with the chairs. You know what I mean? So I need just a couple more feet to make it more feasible on the deck to have a table up there. And then I also want to try to renew get an extension for the garage. I had a permit back in 2004 to build a 2-car garage in the front of my house by the road. I'd like to renew that.
Same garage that was approved previously?
Yes.
Okay,
The
and
zoning board.
okay, so this was the garage, Bill, the garage was approved previously, is that correct?
And also, yes, and also the stairs going down to the lake where it was approved.
Okay, and where do we stand legally on this, Bill?
Well, the variance has expired from 2003, but, so it is a new application, but he just indicates that he would like to do the same garage on the same location, so I don't know that there's been any changes. I don't believe there have been in the ordinances in terms of setbacks, anything like that. So the board can consider the fact that we approved it many years ago, but we did approve it.
Okay, and Danielle, notices and everything were properly done in the sense regarding the garage?
Yeah, I reworded our notice to include the extension in there.
Okay.
Okay, great. All right, so does the board have any questions for Mr. Sadowski?
All the side, looks like it all meets all the side setbacks and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hey, John Rushke, can you go over your report? Do you have any issues?
Sure. Yeah. The one thing I just, if the proposed development, because he did mention he's also constructing not only the garage but also the steps, and if he's disturbing more than 1,500 square feet of disturbance on his property, he will need a lock rating plan. And so Bill can give him guidance on that, but he certainly needs to make sure he doesn't exceed that limit of disturbance. And the only comment that I had on this application was really he should get an as-built survey, essentially of the foundation, to make sure that the garage is in fact constructed in the proper location, given the site constraints and such. And I believe that typically is a requirement from Bill O'Connor for houses, but I think sometimes for garages, not necessarily spelled out in the code. And I think just to reinforce Bill's ability to verify that it's located properly, to get in just an as-built survey of the foundation, which is common. That's all I have.
Question for you regarding pervious or impervious. There's not much detail on the garage in the sense of the paving around and everything. I don't know if it's already paved or if it's stone. Mrs. Sadowski, can you explain what's around the garage for your parking area? Is there something there now, or just?
It's approximately going to go, half the garage is going to be on an area that was paved before, but I think kind of disturbed it, raised it up, and now it's got QP, but there might be pavement underneath it. So I'm going to say it's basically going in a spot that's 80% covered by pavement.
Okay, already.
Already.
But
So,
this would have been, Bill, this would have all been covered under the 2003 application, correct?
Yeah, that part there, yeah.
Okay, fine. All right, any other comments from the board?
With all that,
So the only thing really new here is the 2-foot addition to the deck.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay. Michael, I think you had Ray Hill, you had a question maybe?
yeah, would all them other permits have to be attached to this and filed as if they were done this year?
Yes, this is a brand new application and everything, so it's all going to be up to date new as of today, or whenever it's approved.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other questions from the board? All right, I'd like to open it to the public. If anyone has any questions, please raise your hand and Ron will.
Colleen, hold on one second here. Colleen, you're on?
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Hi, Colleen.
Hi.
Hi. Do I need to be sworn in?
Yes. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And Colleen, your full name?
Colleen Lyons. I'm the
Okay.
administrator for the Lake Hopatcong Commission.
Okay.
So the commission sent a letter, and I wanted to confirm whether that was sent to the applicant as well.
Yes.
Okay, great. And then just kind of to the board, I didn't realize that this was approved back in 2003, and I think we can agree that a lot has changed for the lakes in that time. And the applicant is requesting to go, about 7.5 above the zoning requirement. And I think there's an opportunity here to, to request some green stormwater infrastructure to mitigate the impacts of that increase in impervious coverage, or if it is really just going from impervious cover to impervious cover, you can still mediate that and increase above the zoning requirement through some green stormwater infrastructure.
Okay, Colleen, anything else?
Not for me, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else in the public? All right. Ron, no one else? Okay.
No, sir, I don't see anybody.
All right, I'd like to bring it back. Any final questions? Go ahead.
I'd like to suggest that he install, and maybe John Rushke can help him, guide him with this. I'd like him to install a dry well for the gutters on the garage. To manage
That is
that.
one thing, John, that is an interesting point. Did you get, or did we get the old plans with everything on them specifically regarding, water and
Well,
stuff?
the board really just got a copy of the resolution, and the board does have a right to, reopen that entire application and
Right.
do it for its own merit. It doesn't necessarily have to just blanketly, approve it. The board can deny it, frankly. So the board can revisit this in application if they want to. So it did not appear that any mitigation of dry well, any mitigation of stormwater was proposed at the time or approved at the time. Certainly the board can look at that and give it consideration. And for a situation like this, I typically don't require them to go hire an engineer to design a dry well. We actually have a sheet that for homeowners for something like this, for garages and such, and as long as they just fill in the blanks, it determines how big the dry well has to be, and they just install it. So, we try to work with residents with small projects like this on coming up with a dry well design.
All right, great. So if I understand Mike correctly, he would like to add that to a motion. Is that correct, Mike, or just add it?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve it with a dry well. It doesn't have to be big, but and the point here is that every little one of these steps that we take is helpful. When you add them all up, it's significant. This relatively small roof is not a big deal, but it's part of a larger management system that we're trying to do to help lessen the impact on our lake. And so that would be the reason that I would suggest it. It's not going to be big, but it will help.
Okay, very good. Then we have it. We have a movement of the motion. Can we have a second?
I have a second.
Okay, Danielle.
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rahill?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Toppin?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Sadowski, it looks like you're approved. How quick do you want to get moving on this?
It's not how quickly I want to get moving, it's how quickly I can get a contractor in here.
Okay, well, the only reason why I bring it up, would you like to do a waive the memorialization?
Yeah, right now it's no rush right now. I mean, it's not going to happen until, like when it gets warmer, March.
Fine. So let's just leave it then. That's good. All right. Looks like you're approved. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay. Great. Okay, next. Bernadette Acuria, if I'm pronouncing it correct. 18 Northwestern Way.
I thought it was Tom Conley.
We just did that one, Mike.
We did, Tom.
Oh, sorry.
Is Bernadette here?
I don't see her. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm going to, if you
So
want to
we'll
move
hold
on to
that.
the next one, I'll text her and see if I can find out why she's not here.
Great. Let's check with her and let's move on. Next, we're going to Klaus Bennert on 76 Ithanol Road. Klaus, are you here?
I am.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you for coming. You're looking to add a 2-car garage, double balcony, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you tell us what you're doing?
Okay. Mr. Bennett, please, hold on. Mr. Bennett, please raise your right hand.
Oh,
Thanks, Bill.
You hear me, Mr. Bennett?
yeah, I can hear you.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And you're the property owner?
Yes.
You're on.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I purchased the property, this is basically close to what it is now. So it's been a little bit of a struggle trying to get this functional because the owner that before I bought the property owned both properties, 74 and 76, and he kind of combined the whole thing, and that's kind of the mess that I inherited. So I'm trying to put a garage in so that allows me some off-street parking besides the one that's going through a shared driveway. And I also want to, but it's not part of this application, but eventually really build a little bit bigger house there. I know I'm limited to so I'll probably just go up. I know I can't really go much bigger as far as the overall floor plan. But so the goal is that I know for the application timeframe I had, the plans for the house were not possible to submit at the same time. But that is the larger goal for me, is to be able to go, try to get, right now it's a 560 square foot house, which is, I always refer to as a dollhouse in the community because it's so small. It would be nice and more functional to actually have a bigger house too, but I'm starting with the garage. It's maybe a little bit reversed, but that's where we are.
Okay, great. Well, the house will hold off for another time, but the garage is the application in front of us.
And the balconies.
I'm the architect. I'm here as well, just so you know.
Great, Bob. Thank
Mr. Smetana?
Yes.
You want to swear him in?
Yes. Mr. Smetana, please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And you are a licensed architect in the state of New Jersey, and you've prepared these plans, is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
And you've testified before this board in the past, right?
Yes, I believe at least once.
I think you have. Okay.
Why don't you share your screen and walk through the application and just go through and give the testimony regarding what is proposed, the variances, and
Sure. Okay.
production. Ronnie, can he share his screen? Does he have permission?
Can you see it now?
There we go. Yep. If you can go down a little bit further, I think would be good, but go ahead.
All right, let me just zoom out here. All right, so this shows the entire site plan. At the top of the page is Ithanel Road. This is the existing conditions, the one-story dwelling. Sits closer to the lake end of the property. Where we're proposing the garage is obviously along the street. We are restricted, and I can show you on my site plan, by the position of the leach field as to as to how close we can, or far into the property we can push this garage. Basically, the property right now, get to the sidebar here. There you go. Okay, so this is Ithanel Road at the bottom of the page now on my site plan. You can see the dash line of the leach field. We're literally right up to the edge of it with the upper platform level, which is at ground level with the street. Currently, there's about a 9-foot drop off, and there's a retaining wall running along the street edge that is slowly deteriorating. So there's very limited capability of even parking one car up there, never mind multiple cars. That's why we are pushed so far close to the street, because we're trying to maximize the amount of vehicle storage as possible at a street level. Because of the fact that the grade drops off so significantly, we're proposing to elevate just a slab And currently there's a driveway coming in from the side, on the left side, that would lead to potential storage of a boat underneath the garage. So it becomes 2 stories from the back. I can show you some images now of that. But let me just zoom out. So the rear of the garage is open piers. And here we are at the left side of the garage. So this is that access from the existing driveway, which would allow some boat storage underneath there. Then this is the main level plan. So we basically have one deeper garage. I'll zoom in here a little bit. So the interior depth of that one is 26 feet. Klaus currently has a, I don't know, a travel van, more of like a camper van that basically is a little bit taller than your standard van and a little bit longer than your standard van. So he's trying to provide enough space for that to be able to park in this first garage. The second garage bay is approximately 21 foot deep, which is pretty much a standard vehicle depth. Garage, at least I should say. So having a little bit of storage space. And then there's a third narrower bay where he'd be able to keep a motorcycle and some other miscellaneous bikes, things like that. Off to the right, along that side, is a stair going down to ground level on his property. Let me zoom back out here. Actually, I'll show you the ground level just so you can see that. So this is the lower level area. These are the piers. The pier is approximately 2 feet back from the edge of the garage up above, so that we're not tight up against the leach field. The leach field corner kind of comes in over here. As you can see in this site plan here, that's the closest point, and then it slowly angles away. This whole front edge is going to be basically a retaining wall to stabilize the grade at the front, and we are literally at 0 setback along the street side. One thing to point out as far as that goes, oops, wrong site plan, this one. The actual road is at the top of the page here is this dashed line. So that's approximately 6 feet off at the northwestern corner, I guess. And then where this drain is, it gets a little bit closer. But so the actual line of travel is approximately 6 feet away from where the building line would be. And the building line is stepping with the street. Oops.
Okay.
I didn't tell you about the deck yet. I don't know if you want to get to that now, but.
Sure. Fill us in on the deck also.
Okay, so the deck, zoom in here. The deck is proposed to be off the back of the existing house. The existing house currently sits at approximately 5 feet off the property line. The deck is just ever so slightly inset from that on the western side, since the site plan is flipped, and a similar distance off of the eastern side, with the rear of the deck. Oops, wrong way. Give me another number here. It's with the rear of the deck. approximately 18 feet, I believe it is. Let me just look it on my computer. 18 feet off the existing masonry wall, although there is a deed property line that is set in from that. So from the deeded property line, it's 10.1 feet off of the rear. Couple things about the site. So the site is significantly smaller than what the zone currently calls for. So instead of 15,000 square feet, we're only 4,371 square feet. So less than a third of the size of what the allowable lot typically is. The width calls for 80 feet. The street frontage is 40 feet, and that's at an angle. So technically the width of the property, if you were to go perpendicular to the sidelines, is somewhere around 36 feet. So again, much narrower than what the ordinance would call for a 35'6" I show for a compliant lot. So that's kind of what's forcing us to be needing variances for side yard, as well as impervious coverage, building coverage. We need a variance for the garage in the front yard because of accessory structure in the front yard. The size of the garage compared to the existing structure is also another variance. Let's see what else. And then retaining wall along a property line. You know, there's a lot of constraints to this property that are hardships.
Was the survey submitted with the application? I didn't see a copy in my packet, and if we could get a copy, that'd be helpful.
Yeah, I did submit some to Danielle after the fact, and I have emailed it, but yeah, we can get you that as well.
I can get it from Danielle.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, survey was in my packet.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, it was.
You had it in yours. It was in there.
Okay.
Okay.
One tomorrow.
I even have it.
All right, great. And any other testimony, or should we move on to the engineer's report?
Let's see. No, I think we can move on to that first.
Great. All right, John.
Klaus says anything?
Yeah, this is a little concerning regarding the size of this structure and how close it is going to be to the road. You know, there is other garages along Ithanel, along the road. You know, this is not necessarily so out of character with other properties, but it is concerning how close it is. There's, you know, zero setback. There really isn't a good correlation between the property survey that was submitted and you know, some of the things are questionable if they're still accurate or not, and how he's proposing to shoehorn this garage into the property. You know, I see steps and I look at the site plan. It looks like the steps, it's not clear if it's in conflict with the utility pole. It's just you know, a little concerning regarding the, you know, getting into the weeds with the details on this one and how it's being constructed and how it may be potentially impacting, you know, the adjoining properties. The you know, it is, I see the proximity of the septic system, so obviously that has to be reviewed by the health department to make sure that there's no impacts onto the septic system. But Going through my my comments, concern that is the water going to be directed towards any of the adjoining properties? So we want to make sure that stormwater is properly managed and not negatively impacted in adjoining property. There does seem to be, right now, the property is accessed through a paved driveway. Is there an easement associated with that driveway, or is that just something that's just happened over the years?
What I'm been told is, and that's also true for 74 for that matter, and I don't know if Vince, my neighbor from 72, is on this call. He said he would call in too, but he's the one that really has the driveway going down his property, and then it forks off like a tree going to Arlene to the right, and then to my property to the left, or if you're looking up the hill or down this way. So I'm not aware of that actually being any easement on any of these properties for that driveway. This has been like this forever, and like I mentioned, when I purchased the property, was actually owned, the two properties, 74 and 76, which I own now, were owned by the same guy, and I think he did a lot of this stuff, combining them. So that's a long answer, but I don't think there's anything in the actual deed, but it's been a common use to have that driveway shared.
Okay. At this point, Rich, let me defer to the board, let them get some comments, and I'll just elaborate a little bit more in the end.
Well, Bill, excuse me, John, let me ask you a question though. On the plans, is there any type of water management from the new garage? I don't think I saw any of that.
No, it just looks like it's, it doesn't even appear to be gutters on the roof, and directing that water directly onto the septic system is not, good practice.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's open it up to the board and get some questions in.
I have a quick question. Do you own both lot 4 and lot 5?
No, I only own this lot. I think the other lot, no, I'm not. I only own this one, 76.
It looks like a lot of your steps and everything cross over the lot line. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's actually shared. Like I said, the previous owner, before I purchased it, owned both lots, and they used to have completely separate walkways and everything, and he just combined them. And I believe all of that was done actually without any kind of permit, but that's what I'm dealing with right now. And I would love to, that's why I'm creating another walkway on this side to kind of help separate these properties again, what they were originally.
That's a lot of garage for that little lot.
Well, it's a 2-car garage, and I think that's probably fairly standard. It's just a small lot. I don't know what to keep that functional and to have off-street parking. It's and also it does not cover anything more than it's currently covering, right? Because I'm currently parking 2 vehicles underneath it, so we're not changing anything really as far as covering more ground or anything like that. It's really kind of a wash, but it allows for a cleaner off-street parking and and a separate walkway down versus having to go all the way around the garage of 74 to go down the stairs. So it's I think and I know I got all my neighbors' support. It will certainly improve the neighborhood and the situation what it is right now.
Yeah, but it still is a lot of mass. When you're looking at going down the road, a lot of them are just single garage doors. There are some double garage doors. They don't have an expansion or oversized garage door. They don't have the door on the side. So this will be one of the larger structures along Ithanel.
I took a look at the property as well yesterday, and I agree with you, John, on that. It looks to be quite a bit larger than what you typically see on that road. And it's hard to get a picture of how much that's going to stand out. But it looks like it's going to be quite large on that lot.
Is there any ordinance about having a secondary structure larger than the actual primary structure?
Yes.
Yes.
What is that ordinance?
I think the secondary structure that is not supposed to exceed 1/2 the principal, if I remember right. Isn't that
That's-
right,
yes.
Bill?
Yes, yes.
Well, this is way more than half. This is probably bigger.
Larger.
Yeah,
Larger
that's one
than
of
the
our
house.
variances. It's over 750 square feet. The
And
footprint
the house is 500 square feet,
Yeah, so
500, 600 square feet.
Like I said, my plans is to go up a couple level on the house to get actually a much closer to 1,600 square foot house out of the over 3 levels.
How do you get down to the house once you build this garage with your construction equipment?
Yeah.
That is going to be a bit of a challenge. That's why I would have preferred to build the house first. But we had, this condition with the retaining wall and that drop off there and all that stuff. So this needed to be addressed and addressed quickly. And so otherwise I would have done it the other way around.
I'd still, like was asked before, Lot 4 seems to have a lot of stuff. And how can we approve more stuff on 5 when we still have all that stuff going into 4?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that question. What was that?
How can we approve more stuff being added to 5, Lot 5, while all that intrusion on Lot 4 will be still remaining? I mean, we're proving that you are allowed to intrude on another person's property and build more on yours.
I'm sorry, what part is intruding on somebody else's property? It's actually, if you're talking about the stairways, that would be able to eliminate that. It could be moved over. It's, by the way, just a portable stairway, so it can be easily moved over to the right, which would give my neighbor his separate walkway down, and I would not use that walkway anymore. So if anything, I'm getting rid of some of the stuff that was combined and help eliminate kind of a lot of the shared and hanging over, and also the parking structure. I would only put my boat there once a year, access to that, versus right now having needing the access every time I move my car. I need to go through my neighbor's property. So it would address all those things in a positive way, not in a negative way.
how do you get the boat under the garage?
Well, that is, and I had that worked out with my neighbor. I mean, he's okay with that, to have that twice a year, once in the spring to pull it out, and in the winter to bring it in, to use his access in trade-off, not having to use his driveway at any other time, because I don't need to park my cars down there. I can park them then on top, versus right now, which is the only way to park them is underneath it.
He may not always be your neighbor.
I guess my point of view is exactly that, Council. Man, this is shoehorning a lot on this property. My question is, the original form of the lot, and I apologize, I didn't go by and look at this. Is this structure coming any closer to the existing road? And my other concern is we have a lot of what seems to be handshake agreements with neighbors that might not be your neighbors, for the remaining of this property.
Well, a couple things to address that. So first of all, the walkway, the portion that's on his side of the property is 3 feet without the retaining wall. So it by itself would function as a walkway, whether it's there or whether it's on the other side of the property. We still need that similar amount of impervious coverage to go from the top of the property down back to the house. And since most of the walkways, entryways, and things like that are on the same side as that current walkway, it would make more sense for it to be where it is. Whether you actually separate it from the other property, the walkway is still kind of an essential part of the project. As far as the space underneath the garage goes, even if it wasn't usable, if at some point that was abandoned, I'd either have to fill it, the whole bottom in 10 feet of dirt, put a retaining wall in right next to the septic field versus putting some piers to support a slab up above and have less intrusion, less effect on the septic field.
So why couldn't you put a one-car garage in?
I got 2 vehicles.
So one-car garage and a slab. We'd
Yeah.
still need the elevated slab to make that function for 2 cars, no matter what. But
You're going to have a pretty sizable retaining wall underneath that garage. You said it's 10 feet?
No, it's not 10 feet. It's about 7 feet.
You get above 4 feet and you've got real problems.
well, the foundation of the garage is going to be the retaining wall. Similar to what a basement would be, basically.
So the retaining wall on the neighboring property to the east, how are you going to reconstruct that? Because you're dismantling what currently is part of his driveway, which he has no right to encroach onto your property. But how are you going to address that? Reconstructing that retaining wall.
John, you there?
Yep.
Oh, did I lose everyone?
I'm here.
No, we're all here.
Okay, keep going. Sorry.
So that retaining wall runs approximately 3 feet into the property before it hits the garage, basically. So we're going to build our foundation, pin it to the retaining wall on the one side, and basically continue around to support the road side and the
But it
western
looks
side.
like you're proposing 3 feet. So that it looks like, to scale this, the retaining wall extends more than 3 feet into your property. In fact, it looks, I can't see the dimension line on, what's the?
Almost 5 feet.
It's
to the outside
5.7, yeah. I mean, we're basically going to be shortening that wall by the 2.5 feet and building a new foundation wall.
All right, so you're going to reconstruct that wall? And then,
Well, we're taking the end of the wall off, yes, and pinning it to our foundation.
and that wall is greater than 4 feet, right? So that's going to have to be engineered to how that's going to function there.
Well, again, our wall, the basement walls are the retaining wall now.
Yeah, that's a self-standing wall. So you can't just cut off a part of a wall and assume that the stability is adequate.
That's why we're going to pin to it. We're pinning to that wall, pouring concrete, locking it into our structure.
All that has to be engineered. You can't just,
Right, I understand that. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be in the construction drawing part of the project. But.
Council, can you help, at least help the new guy here? How do we approve anything in a permit that has access to another property that's not in this application?
Well, we've got pre-existing encroachments all over the place. Got common stairs, we've got accesses, we've got, obviously, it's, not for the property owner, but in a sense, it's unfortunate this lot was created and not left as part of the other parcel, because it becomes a real problem here. We hear the applicant say, I want to renovate my home, but how the heck are you going to do that with a 30-some foot wide lot? How are you going to get down there and do that? How are you going to have your staircases solely on your property? Apparently, we don't have easements here anywhere because it was in common ownership, and it just was not a thought, I guess, of the owner to take care of it. And perhaps most, if not all, the improvements that are across the lot line were done without, I assume were done without permitting. So we've got a bit of a train wreck here, frankly.
My point is, I'd love to see development, but what do we approve now that might put this homeowner at risk down the road with other property owners?
Well, we could say, look, you got to bring your either you got to come in and bring recorded easements, for your common, and it's not unheard of to have a common staircase, but generally, that's all done with easements. We've got the common staircase that comes down off of Ithanel, and then a little further down adjacent to the house, there's some weird kind of access way that angles into the adjoining home. I'm not quite sure what that was all about, but it's just replete with issues here. And I think maybe the primary concern is the garage overkill for the lot? Is the garage out of proportion with the lot?
Yes.
Is there a better way to do this? And frankly, if you say, look, I want boat access to do it twice a year, well, you know, life changes and maybe your neighbor, for unforeseen circumstances, moves in a year. Then all of a sudden that garage that's underneath your, that area underneath your garage becomes impractical in terms of access. You're not going to have access to it.
Which is, you know, if that's, again, it's a mutual agreement. If it changes over time, then that's the risk I'm taking. I'm not creating anything more often as far as access than what is already there, right? Right now, if this would happen, that I would deny access, I would have a real problem because I have no place to park a vehicle, right? So what I'm doing is I'm creating a structure that actually allows me to 99.9%, and if I have to, 100% of the time, park my vehicles on top and not use the access underneath at all if I don't get approval to do so. And it's, you know, that's the risk I'm taking, and I'm fine with that because it still gives me 2 parking spots I have on top that I currently don't have. So, and as far as the shared walkway, that is again something I'm trying to untangle and let the owner on the right-hand side have the entire staircase available, and I create a separate on the left-hand side of the garage. So that was the whole idea, is to kind of help alleviate or to eliminate some of these concerns and separate these property again, so there is not any encroachment on either side, you know, from his side or my side onto these properties. I mean, I wish the property was bigger, and I was trying to even buy some other property, like my neighbor, you know, and stuff, but I've been told all these properties are basically too small, and they all require variances, and there really isn't any other option. I mean, I would love to hear one, but, you know, it's just, and I think it's not unreasonable to try to have parking for 2 cars off street versus just 1.
And the building is way disproportionate. It's just proportionate to the lot. It's just simply, right. It's just simply way too big. You know, a 1-car garage probably would wind up being about the same square footage as the house, or damn close. But I think that the proposed garage is disproportionate.
Yeah, you know, looking at this, you're looking at oversized. Not only it's just the one garage door that's oversized, but even the other one, it's like a 9-foot high garage door versus a standard 7 that's located along the other properties. So, you know, if you came in with the 10 by 20 and the 20 maybe pushing it, or you know, a 20 by 18 garage, I can appreciate wanting 2 cars. You know, our ordinance even requires 2, but, you know, something much smaller. You know, you have this addition that's onto the garage, which you look at in your profile view. You have windows. You're occupying additional living space almost in that area, and it's just an oversized structure.
Yeah, I think that third bay needs to go, if anything. I like the aspect of the garage because you're creating parking. But, and if you lose it via your neighbor underneath, well, that's your loss with your boat or whatever. I have a question regarding the stairs. I see on your plan that in between you and your neighbor on your other survey, it shows stairs, but on your plan, it looks like those stairs are gone. Are you taking them out on your side of the property line?
I'm sorry, which stairs are you referring to?
The stairs in between your lot and your neighbor's lot that you cross to come park.
Oh, they're actually not attached. They're literally, it's you can move them with 2 people, can move them over to the right-hand side. It's just a wooden frame that's not in the ground, it's not attached. It's just leaning up against the the wall. So I can leave it the way it is, or I can move it over. My plan was just to move them over and not have any stairs there, and then have my own stairs, completely on my property.
Gotcha. So they're movable. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My site plan just shows it as impervious coverage. I didn't delineate each step or anything like that. If that's what you're referring to.
Okay. And then what about water runoff from the garage?
So what my plan is to, because right now I actually have the opposite problem. All my neighbors drain into my property. So I want to create kind of a channel that's on the, if you're looking at the site plan on the right-hand side, I don't know if that's east or west, sorry, but going all the way on the right-hand side, and also by leveling the ground, so you're slowing down the runoff, and obviously the whole area around the septic field and stuff is all either grass or stuff, so the water can drain down there. So it's really trying to slow off the runoff. The biggest problem I actually have is, and that's part of the city issue, is on top of the road there is a drain, and when I had the water department out, they don't even know where that drains to, but it seems to that it gets clogged up and then overflows, and then creates a waterfall going down the embankment the way it is right now. So that's really a much bigger problem than the drainage of the garage. But to your point, I will have a gutter, and I will have it managed the right way, because I obviously want to also keep the water outside of the basement right now, which I have a problem with. The water is going into the basement. So,
right. So I think we need details on that, especially if you're saying some type of trough you're creating. I don't see that on the plans.
Don't either.
Yeah.
Well, it's just the slope of the garage is going to slope back towards the street, not slope the other direction, because you got to drain towards the doors. So that in itself is creating the barrier, basically. But
right, but he was saying though his other neighbors are coming onto his property and then running down, and he wanted to make a channel. I'm assuming he was meaning down to the lake. So we need those plans to also see it. Otherwise, what are you doing with all the water? And that's the question. So,
as far as
does anyone else on the board have any questions?
Yeah. No. How much closer to the road are you with this new structure than what's currently there?
Well, currently you'd go by the house, which is, depending on how you measure it, perpendicular to the road, it's about 45 feet. I'm sorry. Let me just look at my drawing here.
And this structure puts it how close to the road?
55.
Okay. And this structure ends up how close to the road?
Right on the right-of-way line. But it's about 6 feet from the actual road. So.
Okay.
I just can't see it.
Well, my problem is I know where this is going to go as soon as the snow flies. I hope my guys miss it.
So I think everyone has opinions on the garage, which is fine. Do we want to talk about the deck at all?
One of the questions about the deck is the second story on the deck goes to the roof of the house.
Yeah.
Why?
So it's just, to have that additional thing. Again, down the road, I'd like to add on another level, but for right now, it's just to have have a nice deck out there. At the end of the day, it's the water is, that's where you enjoy the water, is to have something in that direction. So
I can see the first deck, and maybe with a roof or something. I don't know. I really think you ought to work on getting your house expanded instead of doing all this other stuff first. But that's okay. That was my opinion.
Well, we were trying to kill two birds with one stone, because we also want to take care of the retaining wall and the potential safety issue there. Keep in mind where right now that structure is indicated is basically just a drop off, so it's just, you can't park a vehicle up there. So it's really without, hugging or being part of it on the road. And then you have that drop off there. So it just became something that, again, I would have loved to do it the other way around, but, trying to take care of that problem that is a more immediate problem, and then doing the house, with that. But, certainly would have loved to have done this at the same time.
Okay, so I have another question about the deck and specifically the width. I noticed that you are making the deck wider than the house on the westerly side, I think, and I'm not sure how many feet.
About 4 feet.
Yeah, about 4 feet. And I'm assuming, Bill and John, that's going into the encroachment of the setback, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if I'm happy because it's such a tight property anyhow with having that encroach even further over.
Especially being encroached so over, even at a high level, because it's almost, you want to have that open space between lots. You don't want to encroach onto or impede on the the neighbor's property. So it is being that it's so high, it even is a little bit more offensive in a way to the neighbor.
Right.
I think we do need some additional architectural renderings of the deck, because it does seem like the deck is almost to the top of the roof. And how far is it extending onto the roof?
We do have a drawing showing it.
We don't have a section view of it. It doesn't show the section of the deck and the house, like how the deck is, how far it's encroaching onto the top of the roof.
Well, it's just about, the deck level is about 6 inches below the roof line, top of existing roof.
How deep is the deck?
How deep, meaning?
Away from the house going to the lake, 12 feet, 15 feet?
It is, 14 feet.
So are you on the upper level, I'm assuming because you're at the roof line, the top of the roof line, you're actually having a railing on the roof line side also?
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so it's going to be boxed in. Okay. Okay, are there any other questions from the board?
No, I can't see doing the garage that size. And the other deal is then doing the house. Like it was said before, how you're gonna do construction when you're blocking it with a garage.
Okay, Mike, thank you. Why don't we open it up to I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to address that a little bit. So even if we were to do a slab there with a retaining wall, the retaining wall would actually be more of an obstacle to try to access down there, but.
No, with a retaining wall.
From down below.
At least you could, with a lift, you could go over the wall with the lift. With this garage, you make a mistake with a lift on the garage, you could crush the garage when the load drops.
Yeah.
Well, one thing is, I wanted to build this kind of in stages because, to your point, I was planning on, depending on if I get this approved, to put the plans in for the building, the actual primary structure, and then build. We start out with a platform or something to help address the issue of not being able to fall off the embankment, and then but still have access to be able to get anything to building the structure, the primary structure. So this is supposed to be done in concert, but anyway, this is. I know it seems a little weird to do it this way around, but again, we're trying to address the concern also that was potential safety issue with that drop-off while taking care of the structure and then the primary structure. So it is what it is.
I have a quick question. From the the elevation at the street level to the elevation down at the house, how much of a drop is that? 10 feet?
Where the actual slab is of the ground level of the house, or are you talking about the roof of the house?
The ground level, from the street level to the ground level, that one wall right down by the house. How much of a drop is that?
Yeah, that's probably 10 feet or so.
Why don't you put in a driveway and come down and put the garage closer to the house?
Well, I can't go over the septic field.
Yes, you can. You can have a driveway going over a septic system.
Not
you?
that
I guess it depends if it's designed for it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The parking lot at Stormwater is over top of their entire septic system.
I mean, one thing would be, you always have to create a slope, right? So it would be a fairly steep slope, and then that would cover up more. You would have to basically pile on top of the septic field, which I'm not sure if that's okay or not.
I'd build the garage just on the other side of the septic system.
Yeah,
I'd extend it down to the other side of the septic system and build the garage there. This garage, first of all, the other thing is a nice little two-car garage angled along the same line as the street. You could build a really nice little two-car garage right up there without too much trouble.
I don't believe that's possible.
Pardon me?
I don't believe it's possible because A, they wouldn't let us build anything over the top of the field in the first place. But
no, I'm talking.
But with the grade change, so you have a grade change right at the street, then there's another retaining wall close to the house. I don't know, the grade change difference, and we'd have to get some approval from whoever designed the leach field to say, oh yeah, it's okay to drive over the field, but.
And all that based on how old this system is, not that.
Well, it's a newer system, so it was built 7 years ago or 8 years ago when I purchased the property. But it's I don't think it's something you can pave over because you need that leach field, right? That's the whole idea. That's pervious and that that interacts with moisture and so forth. That's at least what I'm told. I'm not an expert on that, so. I'm certainly open to solutions. I was trying to do the best I can with what I have here, and also, not be an eyesore and add value and beautify the area. I'm certainly not interested in diminishing property value, if nothing else. So I try to make it functional, and and hopefully eliminate a lot of the problems that are currently there by doing it all at the same time. That was my goal.
Well, that being said, when you think about improving the property, it has to be in scale with the rest of the property, and so this simply is not.
I think ideally, when you're looking at the adjoining properties, that ideally just having install a retaining wall and just build a driveway, parking area without a garage. Or the other alternative is to build, a single garage and then in an area where you can pull in, and that may be more characteristics because there are a lot of single garages on the road in this area. And then the third would be a double garage. But I think this is a small lot, and it's just a lot of mass right on the edge of the road.
Well, what would be acceptable, under the still give me as much use as possible. Again, the idea is to get as much off-street parking and accommodations there without having to access. If I don't have any place to store it or park two vehicles, then I still rely on access to the lower part of the for parking and storing stuff. So I've had a permit for a storage shed I didn't build because I want to accommodate that with the garage. So that's so I'm taking that off the table too. I'm just trying to, again, make that. I wish, trust me, I wish it was bigger. I wish I had a bigger lot, but I'm dealing with what I got, and I'm trying to maximize what I can get accomplished here. So if there is something that you suggest that would help accommodate as much of that as possible, I'm certainly reasonable. I don't try to be unreasonable here, but I'm open for suggestions. I don't know.
So
What about
I
what he
think if I
said,
hear
like
the
a
board,
slab wall? They give you the parking spots and then save you money.
I'm sorry, what was that?
A slab with the wall, and then later on do the garage or the house.
Okay, so if I just build a slab in this outline and then come back for the actual structure, that would be acceptable?
I'm
No.
just saying that's
No.
No.
Guys, we're getting in no man's land here.
yeah, exactly. I think, I think if I read the board correctly, people would like to see a smaller garage, one way or the other. This 3 spots is really large. So what I want to recommend, and Bill, I need some coaching here. Do we go into public right now to get some feedback and then come back, or do we?
I think we do, but I think that there's a pretty good.
What do you want to do?
There's a pretty good consensus from the board members, but I think if there's public comment, that would be valuable as well.
Okay, so
do that first.
Why don't we go to public comment, and then we can always discuss this after. So let's open it up to public comment. Ron or anyone in the public, please raise your hand, hitting the participants button or whatever, and Ron can let you in and we'll hear your words.
Matthew, if you could be so kind as to take your screen off, that would be great. Thank you. Councilman, I don't see anybody right now. Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. I got Colleen's coming on.
Yep, Colleen.
Yep. Here we go. Colleen, you're there?
Yes, I am. Sorry, I hit
Oh.
that once, but I don't think it popped up.
That's okay, dear. You're there.
Yeah, let's hear it.
We have to do the same thing. This is a new application. Colleen, please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And your position is?
The administrator for the Lake Hopatcong Commission.
Okay.
So the commission, again, submitted a letter, and generally, the commission is just looking at how an application may impact the water quality of Lake Hopatcong. And our letter did state that there is some concern from the commission that this would, in fact, impact water quality, and basically just echoes the board's sentiment that the proposed application would create an intense use of the property. And I don't know whether the board is, can, look at future use, but the applicant has said that he intends to further intensify the use by expanding the size of the house, which is concerning. Lastly, he mentioned the use of a channel to direct water towards the lake, which does, concern the commission. We'd like to see that water directed towards a rain garden or some other green stormwater infrastructure to mitigate any impacts of nutrient runoff, stormwater runoff to the lake. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, Colleen, thank you. Is there anyone else in public? Please raise your hand.
I don't see any, Councilman.
Okay, I'll look to move it back to the board. Does the board have any other final questions or comments?
One thing that was brought up is somebody said there's a storm drain and nobody knows where that storm drain goes.
Yeah, it's right on it's actually on my neighbor's property, but it's on it's on the road. If you, Matt, I don't know if you can show the drawing, but where it's positioned. But one thing about this road design, it currently it's almost like a funnel, right? It has a runoff from both directions, and it meets up right at that storm drain, which fills up like a funnel when it's plugged up. Right there. So mind that both the right and the left side of the road are sloping towards that drain. So the entire runoff from the neighborhood is directed towards that inlet. And I had the water work coming out, and they don't have any drawings of anything where it's coming. And on the property of my neighbor, you can actually see some sinkholes I suspect that probably is not going wherever it needs to go. And that was one of the reasons why I've delayed anything with building, because I wanted to kind of get a clear view of what the how this is going to be managed, because I see that as a big problem. And when you talk about runoff, that's really where all the water is generated from. It's running off from both sides of the road, meeting there, and really then probably has no real place to go. I think some of it may drain out into the lake. I think I see some of the water to not on my property, but further down between 74 and 72. Ethanol Road, looks like there's an outlet on the actual lake wall that water is geared towards, but I venture to say that a lot of it's probably going other places.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this property is just in a low point between the road. If you stand on the property, you have both roads sloping towards this property, and that's where the basins are.
Yeah.
I'm going to research a little bit further on the basins, on what we know, and frankly, if I'll ask the DPW to video that pipe to see if the pipe is in fact extending onto this property, and if it is, then we have to discuss the possibility of an easement, because this is a historic.
Yep. John, I was going to say the same thing. We will take our new video camera and snake that thing, and we'll find out exactly where it goes.
Yeah, it will be good to know, because I'm surprised my neighbor in 74 hasn't brought that up, because I see the problem that the water builds up and I'm not kidding you, I got videos of probably over a foot or higher, and it starts going over that retaining wall that you see built there on both ends, the small one and the big one. And it's just creating actually a waterfall all the way down to the lake, underwashing concrete structure. And, his driveway has big sinkholes in it. And it's
John, John, here we go again. We don't even know where that came from.
Well, the water is coming. The water is inundated. This is, you step back and say, why did someone build a house in the low point of the road? All the water goes. And so, it's just a natural topography of where this is going. You go on the other side of the property, that's that huge lot. It's all wooded. Everything drains. So there's quite a bit of water draining here. So, that's something that we may want to look at. This is the natural topography of the water flowing through this property. So, we may want to look at, should the property owner be managing this pre-existing condition that, the borough did not cause this situation.
And again, it doesn't impact my property as much as my neighbors. So I'm just saying that, but it does clog up and then create waterfall. So I would manage certainly that on my end, and I would do whatever the engineers and to do to make sure, hey, I believe in keeping the water clean and nice, and I certainly, that's my priority too. So I'm not I don't use fertilizer. I have state-of-the-art septic system. I try to keep the footprint as minimal as I possibly can, and certainly don't want to add to it.
John, it's Groundhog Day.
Okay, so Bill, how
Well, I believe the applicant
go for a vote or not a vote, a motion, or do you want to ask that he does something else?
Yes. Mr. Boehner, you've heard the board members' questions and their comments, and obviously there's a great concern about primarily the garage and its size in comparison to the lot, in comparison to the house. And you can have a vote taken tonight, but I'd be cautious if you want that to happen. If the board disapproves the application this evening, that means you would have to file a new application if you would want to proceed, and you would be paying application fees and starting from scratch. You may wish to consider asking the board to carry this application to allow you to present an amended plan. The amended plan undoubtedly would reduce the scope of the garage, the size of the garage, whether it be a one-car garage with a carport or something attached, or even a two-car garage, something in a more in scale with the property. That's an option for you too. And there is some concern about the deck, whether the deck should exceed the width of the home. So those would be your focuses. That would be your focus, I'm sorry. So you have the option right now to ask the board to vote on the application. If they do and turn it down, then you would have to start again. If
Yeah.
you ask that the board carry the application, then you would come back again with an amended plan.
Yeah, I'd like to ask to carry the application, and I'm sure I'm not as familiar with that process, but would it help to also include in that amendment the drawings of the actual primary structure? Or I know, we're trying to move things forward as quickly as possible, so I think Matt can do that relatively quickly. I don't want to speak for him, but would that help in the application, or would that actually complicate things and slow things down even more?
I think it would help if we see what's there now. The more information the board has, it's always beneficial to the board in understanding the application and rendering a decision. So your house plans now would be helpful.
Actually,
Mr. Klaus, are you asking about bringing in the plans to expand the house, or just the plans for the house as it exists?
No, the plans to what I have in mind to increase the size of the property. I mean, the size of the current structure. So that's what then I think everything would be in relation to.
Well, if you do that, then there would be a new notice of hearing, because that changes the character of the application. If you're just coming in to, reappearing before the board with an amended plan, changing the scale of the garage, that does not require notice, because, but if you come in with something on the house, you'll have to renotice. But that's up to you. That you can do that.
So would that just be the notice that would be starting over again, or would that mean basically like starting the whole process over again?
Well, it would be an amended application to express what you're doing with the home, and a renotice of the entire application, the home and the garage and the deck.
And everything would need to be submitted prior, I guess, to the 10 days and all that.
Yeah, you would want to have enough time for the board to evaluate it, and John to take a look at it, certainly, yes.
So it'd be a whole complete reevaluation and all, okay.
It would.
Just a quick question for Mr. Klaus. The septic system that you put in, is that big enough to handle an expansion of the house?
Yeah, it's a two, because it's a modern system, it's a two, that's just what I'm told, is a two bedroom, and I would not extend over 2 bedrooms, so it would be a 2-bedroom house. It would just be a larger floor plan, not adding, currently it has 1 bedroom, so it would be a 2-bedroom, but I'm a single person, so it's not really occupied, be more for guests and stuff. But to address your question, the septic system is a 2-bedroom septic system, which is sufficient to handle the proposed new structure.
You had mentioned before, I think you had said that you were considering maybe going up 2 floors and possibly expanding that to 1,600 square feet.
Yeah, somewhere around this. What I like to do is, if you look at that drawing that's up right now, I like to square out the building and then go up 2 levels. So actually just 1 level, I'm sorry. So you have so it would basically just going up 1 level. I'm sorry, if the walkout, it has a walkout basement. So if you count that in, it would be 3 levels. But if you're just looking at the first floor, which is the actual living space, it would go up 1 level.
Ron, do you think a work session would be advisable regarding the house before he gets into deep detailed plans regarding the potential expansion?
One of the benefits of you coming in with a plan for the house, let's say you expand the surface area of the house from 500 square feet to 1,200 square feet. Now all of a sudden you go to a smaller garage, and now we don't have the issue about the secondary structure being bigger than the primary structure. And I don't know, for me, I think I would like to see the whole thing, and then be able to sit back and give you some good guidance on the whole thing. And maybe in a work session, that would be the best way to do it. But doing it, if you make the house bigger, it solves part of the garage problem, because your garage can now be a little bit different size. Not as big as the one that you're planning, but a good 2-car garage you could fit on there with nicely. But
yeah,
Just,
we'll
that's just
probably
my
have,
thoughts. Anybody else?
Okay. Ron, you're
Council, I
muted.
think I think we've heard a couple of things. Is it recommended that he can go into a work session? I mean,
Well-
you gave him options before, so let's make sure the work session is not an additional option.
Yeah, let's be careful with a work session because we're already in the middle of a hearing.
Yeah.
And, you know, and so I'm a little uncomfortable with a work session unless it's, you know, devoted strictly to a new aspect with a home because we're in the middle of a hearing on this garage. So what I think I'm hearing is the applicant has asked that the application be carried to afford the architect an opportunity to change the plans. The applicant will have the option at that point to decide whether to go ahead with a house expansion and really revise the application and incorporate that in the application. If that's the case, we're basically starting from scratch with the next hearing, you know, because it's an entirely new deal.
And if I can, counsel, if that's the case, in between the application of the new hearing, we could have a work session.
Yeah, if we're going to treat this as an entirely, and we would, I guess, as a new application, yes.
Right,
Then
okay.
it really is not a continuation of,
Right.
of our hearing tonight. It'll be a new application.
The first thing we have to do is resolve the hearing tonight before we're getting way off track. We're
Right.
way off.
Yeah,
we're
getting
coming
way
off the
off,
rails
so-
here. Let's decide on this hearing.
Okay.
So,
Now, the applicant has asked that the application be carried without, to afford that opportunity. The applicant then will have an option to come back to the board through Danielle and say, am I filing a new application for the house as well as the garage? If the applicant
There you
just
go.
wants to come back with the garage, you can decide that between now and our next meeting and come back with strictly a revision with the garage. It's up to you.
There you
Correct. So we need a motion and a second.
All motion.
I second.
Okay, Danielle? Danielle?
Danielle?
Yep, you're muted.
Sorry.
There you go, okay.
Mr. Bongiovanni,
Yes.
Mrs. Crock,
Yes.
Mr. Rahal,
Yes.
Mr. Riley,
Yes.
Mr. Toppin,
Yes.
Councilman Schindler,
Yes.
Mayor Francis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good luck.
all right, thank you, board.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
One question. If it's carried, is it carried without notice if we're only dealing with the present?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, the motion was to carry it without further notice if the applicant comes back with just a revision of what he's doing now.
Thank you.
Okay. Great.
Here we go.
Next. Next, I think, Danielle, we hit all of them, correct? So now,
Nope. We're going back to 18 Northwestern Way. Bernadette Acura. I swear.
is Bernadette here?
Yep, she's muted.
Okay.
There she is.
I'm here.
Hello, Bernadette. Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening. Would
Good
you please
evening.
raise
Get
your
sworn
right
in.
hand? Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and you're the property owner?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Okay, Bernadette, could you tell us what your plan is here about?
So right now I purchased the home as a foreclosure from the bank, I believe. So basically what I want to do is I don't want to change any of the square footage of the original home and the foundation and the structure of the home. I just want to change the roof to a gable roof and raise the pitch to utilize this space there because it's one of the smaller houses in Hopatcong as well. Not much will change, I believe, from it, just the height of it. And that's about it. I mean, it gets more into detail in the plans. Obviously, it's going to look a lot nicer. At the moment, the house is not even there because the framing's gone, everything, because we were supposed to redo the roof as well as move a few walls, but because the house was small and there was a little bit of, I believe, termite damage in the backside of the house, and there was no plywood around the framing of the home. There was no insulation, so nothing was really salvageable. So the good thing about that, I guess, is that we get to, really revamp this house and make it last for a while with good brand new material.
They build it on the same foundation?
Yes.
No expansion?
No expansion, just the height.
Just the height.
That was a log cabin at one time, was it not?
Yes.
Yes, I believe.
Yeah.
If I may, there is going to be a little difference in the treatment with the entryway, though, a little bit of an expansion.
Not really, I don't think. Because right now the stairs go out towards the street, so they actually extend further out into the street, but the new stairs would be turned out into the driveway, so that actually shortens it a little bit and makes it a lot, I guess, safer, I would say.
More family friendly.
Right.
Okay.
Anything there would be an improvement.
Yes. So hey, John, you want to go over your letters or anything?
The only thing is it's just the house that's going to be rebuilt. You're not doing any grading on the property or any other changes on site. It's just redoing the house.
Right, no, so on site, just really redoing the house, like I said, raising it upwards and then fixing that back deck area because it's not really safe. And we got the septic checked out. Everything is good to go, which is exciting. So I just want to bring this house back to life and finally live in it.
Okay. Yeah, no.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Great. Sounds like a plan.
We're excited. We want to move fast. It's going to be a beautiful house, a beautiful, beautiful house.
So,
Bill, the height of the new pitch of the house doesn't pose any issue on height variances or anything like that, does it?
I do not believe so, but let me double check my original zoning.
They got enough of land that the runoff would go right into their property.
Okay, perfect.
But I got a question. It looks like the driveway cuts across the other person's lot. Is that correct?
Here we go.
Look at the drawing.
I don't think so because I've got quite a few lots on my survey on my land.
Which lots do you own? Lot 36 and 37?
All of them, like all of them in the I think all 7 or 8 of them. I think there's 7 or 8 on there.
Oh my God.
I know.
You own all that.
The whole corner. The whole corner.
The whole corner.
Great.
I'm so excited.
2 corners.
Okay. Great.
Right, so I don't share the driveway. I have that whole lot, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay. Any other comments by the board?
Build it.
Build
All
it.
right. I'd like to open it up to the public real quick. Any public raise their hands?
I see none, Counselor.
Okay. Let's bring it back. And would someone like to make a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, Danielle, you're up.
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Toppin?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bernadette, do you need a waiver? How soon you want to do this?
Yesterday, sir.
Okay, you should ask for a waiver of memorialization then.
Waiver of memorialization? Okay.
I'll move it.
Second.
Okay, Danielle?
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Toppin?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yeah.
Okay, you have your waiver of memorialization. Good luck. You can go pull a permit tomorrow.
I'll see you in the office tomorrow to get a permit.
So much. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Thank you, Danielle, for calling and everything. Thank you guys so much. I will see you as soon as I can. I've got a buttload of work, but I'll be there.
Great. Thank you.
Guys, good night. Good night. Thank you.
Good night.
The doors will be open.
Perfect.
Good.
Can I like check out, or do I have to stay in the meeting to support everyone?
No, you don't have
gone.
to.
You're done.
Okay. Thank you guys. Good night.
Celebrate.
I will. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, next up, Bill, zoning officer's report.
Yes, I had one issue. You may remember about a year ago up on 231 Maxim Drive, we had an application. There were 5 houses on the property, and they wanted to come in, take all 5 houses down, basically rebuild the one with expansion. And so at any rate, that approval is in place, but we did have a design change. And the design change, actually, it turns out to be a little bit smaller house. Actually, the height turns out to be a little bit shorter. But I wanted the board to see the 2 designs, and Danielle has them. Possibly she could put them up, but ultimately.
Bill, is this right on the water?
Yes, it's the lakefront right over by the Byron Bay Church, right over in that general
Across
area.
the street, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So at any rate, the alignment of the proposed deck, it is absolutely no closer to the lake than what was approved prior, and no closer to the lake than actually what the original structure was there. But as I said, I've just wanted, because this is a major project, I wanted the board to see it. I don't see the triggering of any new variances, and that's pretty much it.
You want a motion, Bill? Do you want a motion to approve his field change?
Well,
Yeah, anytime it's smaller, Bill, you're okay. Anytime with the nonconformity is reduced, there's no issue for the board. The applicant, the approval that the board gives allows an applicant to go up to that limit. If they're less, that's fine. Then the board should be fine.
Thank you. No, I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention before I approved it, just in case something there was something that was a hard point, something I didn't see. And basically I was ready to approve it, but I wanted to make sure the board was good.
All right, Bill, thank you. Anything else for the report?
No, that's it.
That's it. Okay. Moving on, let's go. This next is the discussion, revised municipal stormwater management plan. John Rushby, I think, or Ron?
No, I'll take the lead on it. Danielle, this is actually a public hearing, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, yes, because this is a component of our master plan. We first adopted this report back in 2005, and it was adopted in response to a permit that was issued by the NJDEP to all municipalities on regulating stormwater. So we actually have a permit to discharge water into to operate our stormwater system within the town. We actually have a permit from the DEP. And that permit comes with a whole host of conditions, and we've been complying with those conditions for many years. They just recently revised that permit back in March. And so and what we were doing is really just updating this report to reflect those changes in the regulations. And so we also are going to be revising our stormwater control ordinance for major developments. And the changes are not significant. For the control ordinance, the DEP has a more emphasis on green infrastructure versus structural BMPs associated with managing stormwater. They have redefined the definition of a major project, requiring it's mandatory now to have the 1/4 acre of impervious added to the definition. So the report is really kind of a dry report. A lot of the language is really, we're just taking it out of the actual permit, and then just that the town adopts this document so that we have several ordinances that are in place. That was also a response from the DEP's permit, and the report basically supports the ordinances that we have in place already. So that's a short version. See if the board has any comments.
Okay, let's open it up to the board. Any comments or conversations about it?
Nope.
So John, with this, do we actually need to take a vote, a motion on this, or just this is a public hearing and that's it?
No, there should be a vote, and we should, Bill, we should open it up to the public first. before-
Open it up to the public and then
Public.
they take public comment, and if there's none, then we'll proceed to a vote.
Great, so let's open it up to the public. If you are the public, please raise your hand and we'll get you for a comment.
Council, I see none.
Okay, then let's bring it back, and we need a motion on the revised municipal stormwater management plan.
Make a motion.
I make a motion.
Okay, and second?
I'll second it.
All right, Danielle, go for a vote.
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rayhill?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Tappan?
Yes.
Mr. Haggerty, do the councilman and the mayor vote on this?
No, I would have them abstain because it's going to be acted by yeah, I'd have them abstain.
Right, it's going to go to the mayor council anyway.
Right, yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so then we're done.
Okay, so it passes. There you go.
Thanks for keeping us in compliance, John.
Yeah, John.
The DEP offer packs.
That's right. Okay, so let's move on to resolutions. So,
Got a bunch of them.
yeah, we got a bunch. Can we do them all at once, Bill?
Yeah.
Well, if people who may or may not have been there for a meeting, I don't know. We're covering a couple of meetings.
Why don't
Let's
you
do them
by
all.
meeting?
Right, let's do them individual, no problem.
Okay.
Gregory Panak, hearing date October 6th, 2020. Motion is in order to approve the Panak resolution permitting the renovation of an existing dock at 311 Squaw Trail. Can I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Great. Danielle?
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rayhill?
Abstain.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Tappan?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yeah.
Okay, next, Louis Zichella, October 6th meeting. A motion is in order to approve the Zichella resolution permitting the construction of a front deck at 150 Bucknell Trail. Could I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Great. Danielle, up for vote.
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rayhill?
Abstain.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Tappan?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yeah.
Okay, Ami Ortiz, October 6th meeting. A motion is in order to approve the Ortiz resolution permitting the expansion of a deck and pool installation at 13 Brooklyn Mountain Road. Could I have a motion?
I move.
Second.
Second. Thank you. Danielle, vote.
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rayhill?
Abstain.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Tappan?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yeah.
Okay, Philip Howard, October 20th meeting. A motion is in order to approve the Howard resolution permitting the replacement of a garage at 223 Hudson Avenue. I have a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Great. Danielle?
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rayhill?
Abstain.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Tappan?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yeah.
Did we
Did we do all
bypass
there?
Brian? Did we bypass Brian O'Hara on September?
Yeah, we skipped one. Number 4, Rich.
Did we miss one?
Brian O'Hare.
Oh, okay. Brian O'Hare, we'll go back right now.
Not as
Brian
easy as
O'Hare.
it looks. Not as easy as it
Rookie.
looks, Rich.
Rookie.
Not as easy as it looks.
No, it isn't at all.
You're doing a great job.
Okay,
Cut it
all
out,
right, stop
guys.
it now.
Doing a
Stop
great
it. All right.
Listen, Alan's not going to be here
Order,
all of December.
order.
Rich. You can do all the meetings in December.
Yeah, no. That's why I'm messing up. Order. Let's have it. Okay. Brian O'Hare, September 15th meeting. A motion is in order to approve the O'Hare resolution permitting variance for authorize the repair and construction of a deck extension at 130 Maxim Drive.
Move
I
it.
have a motion.
Second.
Great.
Mr.
Danielle?
Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Toppin?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. You know, I'm actually checking these off too. That's bad. Anyhow, Giovanni Chiroba, October 20th meeting. A motion is in order to approve the Chirobaga resolution deeming the application incomplete to permit variances for the construction of a patio wall, and rock wall at 239 Squaw Trail. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Need a second. Okay.
Second.
Vote, please.
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Abstain.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Toppin?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Do we need to
I'd like
abstain from this one?
Was
That's
that,
the one. That was
that one's coming back in December.
big time.
I know. So as a council member, do we need to abstain from it, Bill?
The
That was a
Chirabata?
use variance.
No.
There was another one that was a use
No.
variance.
No,
Okay,
this
fine.
this
Then
stuff is a
yes.
use variance. No.
Okay, fine. Yes, go ahead.
And then Mayor Francis.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And James Dellarina, October 20th meeting. A motion is in order to approve the Dellarina resolution permitting the construction of a shed in the front yard and deck on the existing home at 15 Bonaparte Point Road. Can I have a motion?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Second.
Need a second.
Got it. Mr.
Danielle?
Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Abstain.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Toppin?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yes.
Okay, Anthony Gangemi,
No,
October.
this one you will abstain. This is a use
Yeah.
variance.
Yep.
Right. Thank you, Bill. Anthony Gangemi. A motion is in order to approve the Gangemi resolution permitting 2 dwellings on a single residential lot together with bulk variances at 227 Lakeside Boulevard. Can I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Second.
Need a second. Danielle?
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Abstain.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Toppin?
Yes.
And then Councilman and the Mayor will abstain.
Abstain.
Yes.
Yep.
Next, Thomas Gage, October 6th meeting. A motion is in order to approve the Gage resolution permitting construction of a new home on a vacant lot parcel at 14 Brown Trail. Could I have a motion?
Rich, I got a
So
quick
moved.
question on this one. On page 6, 5F, it says the applicant is to provide an absence letter to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. Should that be from, or should that be to? It was a little confusing, that paragraph.
Okay, just a second.
Page 6, paragraph 5F.
Page 6, paragraph 5. Hang on. Page 6, paragraph 5. John, the applicant provides that letter to the DEP, correct?
John is out of, oh, let's get him back in.
Okay.
There he goes. There he is.
Which application, Bill?
I'm sorry, this is the the letter to the DEP that he is to provide, the absence letter,
Mhm.
that's a letter that he provides to the DEP, right?
Yes, it's an application to the DEP.
Right.
Both of them are applications to the DEP. One is for the
Okay.
wetlands, one is for the flood
Yeah,
hazard.
okay.
All right, good.
Okay, so Bill, if you could amend that, and then we can do the motion, correct?
Okay, correct. Go ahead. Yep, yep.
And we have a second on the amendment, and go ahead, Danielle.
Wait, who was the second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Was it
I
Bill?
thought you first did.
I'll second it.
Okay,
Ron's got it.
thanks. Mr. Bongiovanni? Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rayhill?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Toppin?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yeah.
Okay, resolutions are passed. Correspondences, Danielle, do we have any?
No, it was just the letters from the Lake Hopatcong Commission, but they were included in the
Gotcha.
application.
They're all included. Very good. Okay, escrow refunds. Do we have a motion
for
to
information.
approve? Oh, it's information, okay?
Yep.
Can I skip the bills?
Pay the
No.
bill.
That's supposed to get a laugh out of Bill and John, that's all. Okay, can I have a motion to pay the bills?
Pay the
Pay the
bill.
bills.
Pay the bills.
Second.
Have
Mr.
a vote,
Bongiovanni?
Danielle?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rayhill?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Toppin?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yeah.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to open the meeting to the public. Is there anyone in the public who can raise their hand and be heard? Ron?
No, I don't see anything, Council.
Okay, I'd like to bring it back.
Motion to
old
adjourn.
business.
We're not there yet, dear.
There we go.
I'm leaving. I got my 200 minutes. Goodbye,
Okay.
guys.
How about a second? Good night. How about a second?
Old business, new business?
All right.
What?
Is
Old
there any
business?
old business?
No.
And is there any new business?
Wait, I have one quick
Great.
thing. Just because we
Go
were
ahead.
missing 5 people tonight, I just want to let everybody know our next meeting on December 1st will have a use variance. So I need all hands on deck.
You're telling the wrong people. They're not here to.
Well,
So
I'm
Mike-
telling the ones that are here now. Everybody else can get an email.
Right, okay. All righty, everyone. How about a motion to adjourn?
Motion
First of all-
to adjourn.
Richard, you did a great job.
Good job, Rich.
Oh,
Good
thanks.
job.
I hope I get fired. Where's that?
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
All right,
Wait for the
guys.
tweet.
Good night.
Take care,
Have a good
everybody. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.